In this episode of Film Stock Reviews, I'm reviewing episode 2 of the Santa Clauses titled the Secessus Clause or the Secessus Clause. Um, this is a continuation of the very first episode. This series premiered on November 16th, 2022, with a 2-episode premiere on Disney+. Tim Allen reprises his role as Santa Claus from the Santa Claus films, and after the events of the first episode, where Scott fell off the roof, you think, what's going to happen? Well, Noel wakes him up, and you can see the certain Easter eggs and metaphors of Santa Claus losing his magic. But now the talk comes in of what's going to happen now. The magic is not there. He's not feeling what he wants to feel. And kind of in a way where Betty, one of the elves, or the main elf who oversees everything with the elves, kind of says, what if you retired, or what if Santa Claus retired? We can continue something like that. Scott takes this into very much consideration, and he goes to see Charlie, and Eric Lloyd comes back and reprises his role as Charlie from the very first movies or in the subsequent film series. Now, he's married, he has 2 sons, but his wife doesn't know what Scott does because Charlie hasn't told his wife. The wife thinks he's a shrimp kind of seafood and she's like, no, and the aspect of everything, and Charlie's like, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pass on it because I can't raise kids in the North Pole. So Scott goes back and kind of has a kind of heart-to-heart with his son, and his son has these visions of dreams and everything, but he's always in this VR world, and it's interesting because only that, the VR aspect of it, and then we always go back to Simon, Cal Penn's character, who is this game inventor, developer, and he's talking to a board where how can he get packages to people so fast with Christmas happening? Well, drones. It's definitely a mock and a play on of Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, and he's playing a single father as well. The character of Simon is kind of weak in a way, but the only thing that keeps him going is his young daughter, who does believe that Santa Claus is real. While Simon sees metaphors and certain things, like I said in the very first episode of my episode 1 review, he starts believing in it a little bit. And the whole aspect of it is that Santa Claus comes to find out that his kids are in the snow globe room where it's a restricted area, but they just want to see what real life is like to actually experience it because they haven't had that yet. And Mrs. Claus is excited, lets her hair down, and Santa kind of tells the elves, like, listen, hey, I'm retiring. They all go ballistic and everything. And then Edie, I believe Edie, is one of the elves. Very annoying character, very just persistent in a way, but it's like kind of more annoying than Noel, but Noel is just doing his thing. But Edie is, interesting because she goes to Simon and says, hey, you're coming to the North Pole with your daughter, blows this magic dust, the sprinkles, and that's the end of the episode. It's a very straightforward, interesting episode. It's pretty simple. The Success Clause is basically is that someone has to be the next Santa Claus before this one retires. She has, Betty has this book and list of who could be the next successors. It's just interesting how it was done. Now, with these first 2 episode premieres, I didn't know what to expect. Knowing that this was going to be turned into a series from the popular movies, I was a little hesitant, like I said, but so far it's good. The humor is very, very dry, and the Christmas feeling and aspect is still there, but you can tell where the CGI is, you can tell where the certain aspects is of what's real, what's not real. Seeing Tim Allen in the Santa Claus suit is great. It's more so of a looking toy aspect. There are a lot of Easter eggs and mentions of what happens when they kind of clone Santa Claus from the Santa Claus to the mention of the original Santa Claus falling off the roof. And I'm pretty sure they're going to mention when Martin Short as Jack Frost took over for a subsequent time in the Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause. And it's just going to be interesting to see how this story progresses in these 6 episodes that it's for this first season. Will there be a second season? I don't think so. I feel like they did this show just to, send this story off in the right way instead of making a 4th film. I would like to see a fourth film, but who knows what's going to happen. This show doesn't have a villain just yet. Unlike the Santa Claus 2 and Santa Claus 3, they had their villains between the clone Santa Claus and Jack Frost, respectively. But now it's the aspect of the elves, the children, and what is going to happen, and how is Simon, Cal Penn's character, going to play a role in this, and how is his daughter going to feel when she sees what's happening in the North Pole? And was it the right move for Edie to bring Simon in, or will he make a mess of things? And will Scott Calvin, Santa Claus, actually have to come back in the role and start believing and, get that magic back up again? Let me know in the comment section below what you thought about episode 2 of the Santa Clauses, titled The Secessus Clause. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think of it? What did you think about this 2-episode premiere on Disney Plus? Did you like this episode better than the first episode? Or were they both in the same? And what do you think is going to happen in this series, being it that it's 6 episodes long? Do you think Scott Calvin will come back as Santa Claus? Or do you think Simon will take over the mantle? And who do you think in this show is the main villain? Let me know in the comment section below about all the questions I just asked. And I'll see you all in the next review video. And be sure you tune in next week for my episode 3 review of The Santa Clauses.